Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show 2024. We are pumped up. I'm Harvey Free. We got a great panel this morning. To my right, Mr. Harry Glantz.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. First show of the new year. Pretty excited about it. A lot of information to go over for 2024. I'm sure just a little bit we'll look back into 23, but I don't like going back in time. Going back in time does nothing to serve anybody. It's only what we're doing now and what we're going forward to do. We've got a great panel, Harvey.
We do. We start off with, of course, our own Becky Alley, top 1% of all originators, one of those Scotsman guides. She knows a lot about mortgages. Good morning, Becky.
What is going on? Super excited. And yes, the good thing about our show being on YouTube is that you can run back and you can show the receipts and you can talk about how we looked in our crystal ball and all the things that we talked about are coming to fruition. And we are super excited for our people in the studio. No stranger to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, Miss Michelle Sayward.
Well, thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone.
Yes. And then she also brings Mr. Al Abdallah to us. First time in the studio. I'm really excited. I've gotten to know Al recently a little bit closer. He's a powerhouse in the industry. And when Michelle and Al said, hey, let's do the show together, I was like, what? I go, this is how we're going to start off 2024.
Well, you got to come out swinging,
fire,
right? You got to come out throwing 105.
Fire, yeah.
And Michelle and Al, they have no shortage of knowledge and personality. So we're very, very blessed to have you on. First show of 2024. Looking forward to it and getting right into it. I'm going to ask you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Been doing this a long time, right? 2024. What do we see for 2024? How you feeling about it?
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm feeling like it's going to be a repeat.
Perfect answer to that question.
Yeah.
I have written down bloodbath.
I've written down nothing is going to change that dramatically, right?
No. And Al and I talked about this a little bit last night in preparation for the show about, what are we seeing for 2024 and, what do we really hope that the, listeners walk away with as a result of today's conversation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we're seeing the same thing. I mean, right now, to kick off the new year, we're seeing inventory higher than usual right now.
That's good news.
Very good news. And we're in this little sweet spot right now where you're not as competitive with multiple offers. And I'm going to bang my hands on the table right now.
Yeah, bang them.
So listeners can understand where we're going with this.
Because
this
it's going to change.
This is such an opportunity.
Because it's going to change, right?
It's going to change, right, Al?
Absolutely.
Al, the inventory thing, no doubt about it. Families didn't want to walk away from their 3% interest rate. They had that opportunity. A lot of the empty nesters that would typically move and open up some inventory, maybe move down south across the country, whatever they would do, even downsize. That didn't happen in the last couple of years. Perhaps this little drop in interest rates would open up the door. Maybe Michelle's seeing that and open up the door for more sellers out there, more inventory on the marketplace.
Absolutely. You guys got to think about something. When a homeowner's sitting in his house thinking about upsizing, downsizing, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, if you're sitting on a 2 or 3% rate, right? Then all of a sudden you got to purchase a home and the lender's telling you 6, 7, 8% or whatever. You're thinking, oh my God. But then I go back to when I bought a house, back in 99 or 2000, I had a 7.75 rate, and I think my lender gave me a 7.5. I'm like, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I thought you were winning at life.
The general public has a hard time with change, okay? And I always use this example as when we had to cover up, put our masks on, and, everybody's like getting all nervous and everything else. And then all of a sudden, when we took the masks off, you see somebody wearing a mask, you're like, what the heck? Why are you wearing a mask, right? It's the same thing with interest rates, okay? Yeah. Change is difficult. And when rates went up to 5 and 6, people are like, what the heck? The rates. Then he went up to 7 or whatever, 8, let's just say. Then all of a sudden the people are saying, wait a second, I can get a 6% or 6.5%. Wow.
But Al and Michelle,
change is different.
Aren't we insiders in the industry our own worst enemy?
Yes.
Because we think we know too much, and then we go ahead and project it upon our clients. And all of a sudden, if you were at 3.5, 4, and rates go up to 7.5%, you're saying, oh, the housing market, nobody's going to buy houses. When really, truly, in fact, it didn't affect a thing. What affected home buying is one thing. Home inventory.
That's right.
So it didn't matter that rates were at whatever they were. Now, I'm not saying in dollars and cents it doesn't matter because, of course, the math doesn't lie. But I'm talking about the volume of purchase activity was still there, and there could have been more, Michelle and Al, if there were more houses on the market, right? So the rates didn't affect home buying.
Right.
They thought it was.
Right. So,
that's 100% correct.
The truth is that in October, the interest rates were pushing 8.
Yep.
But everyone goes into their long winter's nap starting in November, and they totally miss the fact that rates are now over a full percent lower than they were in even October.
Yes.
And the people that are operating right now, they're throwing their hats in the ring, are going to be winning. The ones that are
Correct.
We're actively looking. So anyone that's purchasing a house between now and I would say March 1st, you are going to be winning because the rates are already trending down. And once everyone is awake from their long winter's nap, because it's already happening, right? It's the same thing that happened last year. There was this moment where you can get concessions, you can get under asking, you can get at asking, but there's also those pockets where you're seeing 15 offers, you're seeing $70,000 over asking. I mean, it's a little bit of everything, but you can get deals right now because rates are down.
Just this week, Becky and I were working on an offer. First time home buyer, baby on the way. You know, and we wrote an offer asking for help with closing costs, and there were only 2 bids on the property. 2.
Oh, that's awesome.
Him
Great.
and one other. And talking to the listing agent, as a trained and skilled professional would, to find out what was needed, we found out both offers were FHA. So it's like, are you kidding me? We have a chance that we're going to win this. We're going to win an FHA offer for a first-time home buyer with help with closing costs.
Yeah.
Like I literally had a conversation with Becky on the phone. I was like, I haven't wrote offers with concessions in a little while. Let me get my brain back in the game because it's been so long since we've had this opportunity.
We're going to bump up the price. We're going to get concessions. She's like, let me dust off my boots.
So point
dust
of
it off.
fact,
It's been a
right
minute.
now, point of fact, we came in January 1st was Monday. Everybody came back to the office for most of us. On the 2nd. I haven't seen in years, and this is a point of fact. The 2nd through yesterday, which was the 5th. Right? We have not seen a first week in January as busy as we were with applications. Okay, so I know the real estate market out there, people are taking advantage of exactly what you're saying. There are tremendous opportunities out there. So it's not a rate thing. Do I want rates to go back down? Oh, yeah. We'll get into what's going on. What's in store for 24? Rates aren't going down to 3. Okay, everybody? Not going to happen.
Get it out of your head.
And to Al's point, when he was speaking about when the rates went up to the highest, so in October, when they were at the highest in 20 years, people were calling us, and they went from, I want to pay points for a lower interest rate back in like August and September, but in October at the highest, they're saying, give me your best rate without points because I know I'm going to be refinancing. Consumers were finally understanding that we're in this temporary moment where we're going to be able to reduce their interest rates, right? So when we're talking to our clients, and I put out a post like on Friday, I think, or Thursday, whatever day it was, you're going to thank me when you are refinancing your property, like later when people are finally realizing it and the rates are the lowest they're going to be, and they're finally like trying to be more competitive because of lack of inventory.
Yeah, again, the general public all goes by what we deliver to them. And unfortunately, the majority of people in the public go by what their neighbors and their friends say or what they see or what they read. It's on us as real estate professionals, as lenders, to educate the general public what is the real truth about what they need to do and not to do. Okay? You can perceive a lot of things. You know, the market is going to crash and the rates are too high and this and this and this. Everything that people start talking in the public, that's what ends up happening. Why? Because the majority of people follow the herd. Whatever everybody's saying, everybody does. It's on us as professionals to educate our clients, or the public out there, to know when is the best time to buy, when is the best time to sell. Why is it okay to buy right now while rates are where, to me, they're not high.
No.
To me, they're normal.
Yeah.
Well, they're great right now.
And the
We dropped them. They got so low is not normal. In my
the
opinion.
public settled in on that. Once the shock wore off, everybody really settled into a comfort zone and accepted what was going on in the market, because you have to if you want to be a homeowner, right? If you want to buy a house, and look, we can go in the Wayback Time Machine. I don't want to do that. I don't like going in the Wayback Time Machine. Look, I bought a house that was 12 3/4. I mean, who cares? Nobody cares.
We're talking about way back there.
People only care. Thanks, Al. I appreciate that. You got gray hair too, my man. It's okay. But nobody cares about what happened then. They only care about what's going on now.
Yeah, true.
All right, we're up against our first race guy. We got lots to share with you here. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We take your calls live, 248-539-9797. Keep it here. Hey, we are back live here in the studio, January 6, 2024. Really happy to bring you in our 24th year of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, we are sponsored by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by CMG Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1820-1820. You want to call Capital Mortgage Funding on 1-800 Low Rate, the best mortgage banker. Deal with experience. That's the key, especially in today's market. I'll allow Michelle and Al to go over all the reasons why you need an experienced real estate agent, a lender, a team, a plan. And even Harry, when you put that great plan together like the Lions did, they had that great little plan, and a little trick play we're going to do. They told the ref. It's almost like telling the listing agent what you're going to offer on the house. Something happened bad there. I don't know.
In real life, people do get confused, Harvey. You can have a greatest plan ever, and you can execute on the plan. But if you have a lender, a realtor, or a referee that gets confused about what's going on, it could mix up everything. Everybody, to err is human, right? We try to cut down on all the mistakes, but the more experienced people you have in a transaction, all right, the better off the outcome will be. It didn't happen for the Lions, but it does happen in real estate mortgages,
Let's
right?
stop there. I'm going to consider myself eligible to talk right now. Anyways,
He's like,
I like
I'm
that.
checking in.
Checking in right now.
68 checking in here. Okay.
So we heard it. We heard it. Now go, Al. Go.
Listen, at the end of the day, this is the time of the industry, the year 2024. Look, there's a lot of new realtors that get into this business. Okay. Good for them. I have some. Michelle has some. We all have some, right? There's nothing wrong with being new, getting into the business, but there's something wrong with you as a buyer or seller not interviewing that realtor for the job of selling your home or finding your home. Don't just go to your friend, your cousin, your neighbor that just become a realtor. Hey, you know what? I've got a lot of new realtors that are really good. Okay, they're go-getters, etc. But if you're going to hire your cousin, your friend, or somebody that referred you to a newer realtor, let them partner up with a veteran. We talked about this yesterday, Michelle.
I feel like Harry was psychic in his conversation, like he was eavesdropping on our phone call the other day, talking about how important this is.
Wouldn't you say this, and this is kind of like a dirty little secret in real estate, if there are multiple offers on a property, and Michelle Sayward is the listing agent on a property, and a realtor that she knows, you don't have to admit it, I'll do the talking. If you don't have to admit it, but if you know one of the other realtors on the other end of the transaction versus a stranger, kind of like they have the leg up, right? Because you know them, right?
Yeah, and I personally have won offers because the listing agent said, look, Michelle, my clients want a swift, easy closing. We've had a great track record of getting things done. Your offer wasn't necessarily the highest, but
you're bringing your client a solution, right? It's going to be great.
Yeah, we have faith in your service.
Who you know matters.
Big time.
Who you know matters. Yeah. Hey, and then the combination of what you know and who you know is extremely dangerous, right? That's good.
So as Al was saying, if you have someone that's newer in the business, because the majority of real estate agents are 10 years or less in the business and have not experienced any market correction whatsoever other than upward trending.
Sure.
Yes.
So there's a good majority of agents that have 10 years less experience, maybe even 5 or 3. That's fine if you want to hire those people, but you've got to make sure they got the right mentorship as an advised consumer. And if they can't get their mentor or superior on speed dial, on a Zoom or on a conversation or whatever, you got a problem on your hands, because most likely they're not going to know how to navigate some of these transactions. So it's just a changing market.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, because if someone there's a difference between, I'm not hating anyone. Like there's experience and inexperience, right? But then there's also individuals that have years, but they're out of touch with the market. So like, I'm 30 years in the business. Okay, well, you're totally out of touch and you have no idea what's happening because you're not practicing real estate. You're not boots on the ground. So it is important for a newer agent to have that mentorship, to have someone as a sounding board, because the reason why we have been in the business for as long as we have is because we have seen the worst of the worst in real estate, and we're still here, we're surviving. And so these newer agents are like, oh my God, 7% interest rate. What are we going to do with that? I'm like, if that is your only problem that you've ever faced in real estate, you're welcome. Don't even sweat it, because
not a problem.
Yeah, because there has to be a way. You have to know how to pivot so the deal doesn't perish. And the last 3-4 years, or prior to the last 2 years, it was fake. It was raining real estate. Fish was jumping in the boat. And now you're seeing that people that have gotten out of the business is because they didn't know how to fish.
I'm going to give a little bit more of the why. All right, great stuff there, Becky. Definitely increase your value of your home. So when you're looking at a home with these experienced families, they can go over. You got Al out there. You got Michelle telling you, hey, look, this thing has a brand new generator built in the house. That's pretty cool. It might not add value, but that might be something you want. Or look at this. There's this extra den over here. That might work for your office space. That experience brings a lot. You also know, Al, where to put the dollars. When you're walking through with families, usually they're talking about, hey, it's sort of nice, the location, that's more important. But you guys can reach out to them and say, hey, if you put a little bit of money here and redo the floors, maybe we can knock down a wall. You guys have that expertise. Again, this comes with some experience.
Yeah, the majority of people always, when it comes down to like, should I paint? Should I carpet? Should I change my kitchen? Should I change my bathroom? Should I? To me, I'm a big fan of, less is more, simple sells. Okay. And if you're going to go spend the money on your house, let's just say if you're going to think about selling your house and you're going to go spend some crazy money, you don't spend $10,000 and get $15,000 back right away. So, and what if you put a purple kitchen and the buyer wants a yellow kitchen? What if you put for Micah and the guy wants granite? So if you're going to do any kind of renovation personally as a homeowner, I would say these are the best renovations, okay? And it costs very little. Declutter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that
one. Clean your house, okay? Organize your closets, your tabletops or whatever you want to call it, dressers, right? And make sure it smells right. So I'm a big fan of lights, camera, action, okay? Mm-hmm. It's like when you walk into a wedding, do you walk in, it says no music playing and just regular chairs? No, you come into an ambiance. Yeah. The house has to have an ambiance. And if you're not going to spend the money on renovating, that's the number one thing that I push for. But if you are going to renovate, I would definitely say light paint, if anything, like just something, covering up any patches or holes. And if you're going to change a kitchen, man, you're going to put yourself in a big, big cost, which I don't know if it's even worth.
Not only that, maybe 3 to 4 months worth of contractors and problems, and all of a sudden your house
right according to the condition is better.
So many
3
homeowners.
to 4 months. Are
12
you
months
kidding me?
there.
18 months.
You're lucky.
Oh, boy.
Price it accordingly. Price it according to the condition and what renovations the house needs.
Yeah, you got to understand too. You're not going to always get that money back, like you were talking
exactly.
about. So simple as I'm a fan of the paint and the stench. Right? You want to have a pleasant smell, and I love that too, like the ambiance. Right? I like putting on a good show. I like putting on a good party, and you have to kind of close your eyes, and you have to. If you're going to sell your house, in my opinion, when you're walking in, you have to close your eyes and you have to envision like a strange, like for the first time you're walking through your house, that dust bunny that you've been walking past for the last five months, you got to pick it up, right?
Yeah.
You got to close your eyes, set the stage, and then present it in the best way.
I was going to say too, if you're debating doing a major renovation on your home or selling it, like the love it or list it conversation is going on in your head, it makes a ton of sense to have a professional real estate agent come out, go over your pricing options, and give you the breakdown of if you do this renovation, what would be the return, and that might really change your game. Like I've had, like Al said, people say, "Oh, I'm going to renovate this bathroom. I'm going to gut this bathroom or whatever, or I'm going to I'm going to add a bathroom, turn my half bath with a shower or something or whatever for mom or whatever I'm going to do, right?" And sometimes it just makes more sense to sell. So right. Really look at the return before you commit if you're wavering on that.
So I want to say something. So something about Michelle and Al that it's almost sometimes where they're so good at their jobs, you don't even realize how good they are. Because you can dial into either one of them. You can have them come to your house and they are so in tune with the market, what you're going to get, an appraisal. So there's a difference between price and value. And value is what your house is worth. Price is what someone's willing to pay for it. And, they can look at these homes, and I've heard Michelle right off the rip just be like, nope, this and this, because not only do they practice this, but they've also done this in their own real lives, right? They own real estate. They bought and sold multiple homes. Their laundry list is of what they're able to do and their accomplishments is insane. But to have someone just walk in your house and be like, no, actually, I don't think you should renovate this bathroom. You're not going to get the return. And if you really don't want to stay here, let's just, freshen it up, do this and that. You're going to get more money if you don't do it than if you did.
Absolutely. And I want to just say, this show that you host here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., this is a public service show. This is for educating the consumer, and your guests that you bring on, every single show I've watched, the agents are doing the same thing. The real estate agents are doing the same thing. they're all saying, we're not here for the money grab or for the hard sell, right? We're here to educate the consumer, and that's just such an important service to offer.
so
that you're not
segueing
someone
in-
here that's just trying to get the commission.
Right.
They're here to educate
Well,
and
we
to
don't
lead.
bring people on that are just looking to grab.
You do a great
we try
job.
to bring experienced people in. So let's talk about 24. And I just want to ask you this question. What more in store for 24, right? So we're probably going to see home inventories. Now, there's been a spike because it's the end of the year.
Yeah.
Probably going to be more of the same. It's probably going to be limited. You're not going to see a bunch of homes come on the market. That's number one. Number two, buyers are plentiful because it's a supply and demand issue, right? So buyers are going to be plentiful in 24. We're also talking about it's still in a lot of the markets going to be a seller's market, correct?
Yes.
It's going to be a seller's market. And then last but certainly not least, prices are not going to decrease dramatically. Forget about it. Maybe not at all. And they're probably going to go up
Yeah.
in 2024. So, shed some light on those things, Michelle.
I'm waiting for the December stats for the year end still. It's only December or January 6th right now. So I don't, but I have through November right now. And, through November, year over year, we were up in sales price. We were up almost 5%. We were up. So, how much is 30 more days of data going to really change, that? So if we're expecting still low inventory because there's just simply the housing doesn't exist in the world, right? The housing isn't built. We're still expecting prices to go up, right?
Yeah.
So I know it's sounds like hurry up and buy something, but if you're really considering it,
right.
buy it because it's your money, it's your equity that you're building. Look, we're just here to say this is a great opportunity and we can't want it more than you.
So Al was perfect when he said, Al was perfect when he said, don't be sheep. Don't follow everything.
I call him sheeple.
Yeah, the media wants you to say that housing is bad, that nobody's buying houses, that there's going to be a decline, that here we go, all this doom and gloom. Homes sold at record paces in 2023.
Yeah.
That's it. There was no decline in the market in 2023.
The media's job is to pull eyeballs. Okay, it doesn't matter what the story is. Sometimes they're going to pull eyeballs. And if you're reading it on paper, it's already outdated, right? Because you're talking about November.
The
We're waiting
past. The damn past.
It is the past, right? But at the same time, we were living it, and the interest rates had no effect truly on the equities of the home. And everyone's like, well, I'm going to wait till the market crash. It's not going to crash because there's a housing crisis issue.
Correct.
There's not enough equity for it to pull back. And you're going to see that even if we see another 3 to 5% appreciation in 2024, you're winning if you are no longer renting.
Alrighty, that's the great Becky Alley, and she's going to be coming back with tons of information. Becky, we're going to go into all these great programs we have also. Tons to share with you. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll take your calls, 248-539-9797. When we come back, we're going to talk about things are also very expensive on the insurance side, and taxes are going to go up, and a few other things that you can do to really set yourself up for home ownership and success. Keep it here on 97.1. We'll be right back.
housing prices going up is
Hey,
also
welcome
bad.
back to the show. It's 9:29 if you're just joining us.
like-
There's a lot of sports coming
We get
up.
excited during the break, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry, Becky. You get to talk about all the great programs we have here. And we want to hear from you. We got some open lines, 248-539-9797. Hey, Eric, thank you. Eric, sorry, he helps us out here producing our show. And
Happy New Year,
behind
bud.
the scene. We want to thank everyone here at 97.1 bringing us back again for our 24th year, bringing the hardcore
We
mortgage
are
real estate issue.
24 and 24.
You know,
like, how do you time that
there
out?
you
It's
go.
our golden birthday every year.
It's just a consumer advocate show to help families become successful homeowners. Really, that's what it's all about. I mean, so many people were freaking out. Al will tell you, 2008 and 9, hey, my value's dropping. I'm going to give away the house. I'm going to destroy the house because my value dropped. Think of all
People
the
are
crazy.
so crazy. Like, that's even crazy.
And the families will tell you, Becky, we were on the air telling, hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. And the families that did are really, they're going to, what do we call it? They got the
Winning.
equity. They're winning. They've got the equity. They've
Well,
got
the best
choices.
long-term
Millionaires
investment.
are made in a down
real
market.
estate,
That's a fact.
right.
If you can stay in there and you can gobble up when everyone is doom and gloom and fear, you're going to win when things turn around. That is just a fact.
I say zig when others zag.
Yep. Yeah. I like
Zing
that
when
too.
they zag. That sounds
Zing
good.
when
Hey,
they zag.
guys, no doubt about it, though. Things have costing a little bit more. We saw the
Yeah.
gas prices are obviously trickled down. 2023, things got pretty expensive. I mean, car loans are expensive.
Right.
So this is a chance to build some equity up. And again, the one thing that's not going through the roof now is the interest rate. So that's not going through the roof. And there's these great opportunities for debt consolidation to get into home ownership. Becky, yesterday or the day before, Michigan State Housing Development Authority announced here our down payment assistance program, $10,000 down.
Down.
They dropped the interest rate 0.5%. That now, if you take the 10,000, it's 6 5/8. Unbelievable interest rate.
6 5/8 means 6.625, and you can get $10,000. And if you don't need the down payment assistance, you can get 6% on that. So if you have funds available and you're a first-time home buyer, and even if you're not a first-time home buyer, you can capitalize as long as you're buying in a specific city. So that's why you need to have the conversation, because this money is available and you don't necessarily have to be a first-time home buyer to capitalize on it. And it all starts with that conversation, because you don't know what you don't know. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of, saying that it's specifically for first-time home buyers, but we have programs that it's not specifically for first-time home buyers. And I sometimes wish that I had a camera on me at all times, because, when you say these things just in your normal daily conversations, then it finally announces, you're like, yes, I'm validated. Hooray. Because literally in November, in December, I was speaking to a small group of agents saying, look, the writing's on the wall. The interest rates are going to come down specifically for these down payment assistance programs. We need to start having these conversations with your buyers and get them to not be afraid, because when people ask me about the rates, I don't care about the rates. I want to talk about divorcing rent for good. If you are wanting to buy for the first time and you get that landlord letter that they're going to sell their property because they understand that there's equity in that home, they want to capitalize on it. Now you have a lot of buyers that did not take the time to really analyze their financial situation, and they are trying to buy for the first time, and they only have 45 days to get out of the house, and now they're not ready because we're pulling their credit for the first time, and everything is so high. And I'm going to just touch on car payments right now. There's a lot of individuals, because affordability is the issue, and they have this $900 a month car payment that they don't even bat an eyelash at, but they're going to trip on the fact that they want to buy a $120,000 house and their payment's $1,200. And I don't understand the logic there sometimes, because you're paying $1,200 for a house that you can live in, that's making you upset, but you're driving a car
That's
that you're paying
$900.
$900, and now you can't afford that $1,200 payment because you overextended yourself on a car payment. And you really have to understand that if your car payment is over 10% of your gross monthly debt, you are immediately having a negative impact on what you can afford, because now instead of that $150,000 house, you're now looking at a $90,000 house.
So, Becky, there are so many ways that you can achieve home ownership now. The pathway to home ownership has never had so many avenues to go down.
Oh, yeah.
People are big on New Year's resolutions, right? They want to work out more. They want to eat right. They want to lose weight.
The gym is crazy.
What about getting your financial house in order so you can go ahead and buy a house? I mean, how about that? That should be their financial well-being. What good is it if you lose all the weight, you're working out, you're eating right, but you have nowhere to live? Okay? Why not get your finances in order, which we can help you out doing. But bottom line is that you need to put these things into play right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Right now.
It can affect so many things. And I know he's chomping at the bit here. I can see Al like ready. He's gearing up.
By the way,
they
we're two of alike
we're
people.
two
So
alike.
yeah.
That's
We've
why,
known
like,
each
listen,
other
I'm-
for too long. We're
Yeah.
both.
all
I was
jacked up,
I'm pumped
okay?
about this group
Yeah.
in here.
He's my
for sure.
brother from another
I'm
mother.
going to talk.
so-
No, you're going to talk. I'm
No,
going to talk.
but your financial house affects so many things. This week, I spoke to someone who took the job transfer to come to Michigan, got here, and thought they were just going to walk right back into home ownership, and their credit was not in alignment. They could not. Their credit scores were low, and they didn't even think twice about saying yes to that job transfer. So they got here thinking they're in a temporary rental, then just going to go home shopping, and didn't set that up before they even said yes to the job transfer. And they're finding themselves in a rental situation now and having to clean it up after they got here. But it blows my mind that so many people don't think ahead about the big picture and how this is going to affect you. I mean, home ownership in the United States is a blessing to be able to buy a house. And like you said, there's so many opportunities to do that. If you're feeling downtrodden about maybe 2024 isn't going to be my year, I've got some work to do. Well, guess what? We're still going to be in the same situation in 2025.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm predicting that far out.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree
So
with you.
you've got
There's
a
no
lot
question.
of runway to get your money right.
2024 to me is going to be one of the best years in real estate. And I said it. Michelle will say it.
I agree with
Becca
you.
will say it. You guys will all say
We talked
it.
about it last night.
Look, here's what the bottom line is. Many sellers and buyers have been in the stands of a stadium, okay? And many of them want to get on the sideline of a field. But this year, they're going to get on the field and play. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. There's so many sellers that didn't want to list and sell their home because of the rates. So many buyers didn't want to buy because of the rates. Everybody because of the rates, okay, guess what? These are the rates. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. It's a roller coaster. But all those people that have been staying on the sideline, 2024, they're going to buy and they're going to sell. And guess what? There's going to be inventory. There's going to be demand. And it's going to be a fire market. And just put your seatbelt on, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's going to be I feel like it's going to be a 2020 all over again. It's going to be a bloodbath because the interest rates are coming down and people hear that and they instantly want to throw their hat into the ring. And like you said, the sellers are going to unlock those golden
right.
handcuffs of equity of their
The
3%
floodgates are gonna open.
interest rates because that house doesn't suit you anymore. People were panic buying in 2020.
That's right.
They were buying
Yeah.
houses that didn't suit them. They were buying houses in a rural area thinking they were never going to have to go back to the office again.
That's right.
And that's not the case anymore. People are
Right.
coming back. So now those homes no longer suit them and they need to look for better homes. And 6% is a little bit more appetizing than maybe 7%, fine. But it's really only affecting your payment by $100.
Whatever the case is with the interest rates, there's no doubt we want to turn you into a home buyer here. Hey, we got some open lines, 248-539-9797. Prices rose 40% between February 2020 and February of 2022, 40%. There's a really small possibility, Michelle. You talked about people are moving here. It's affordable.
Yeah.
But again, it's so affordable that we have a cushion. It can become less affordable as time goes on. More and more people are looking to the Great Lakes saying, hey, this is where I want to live. This is where I want to raise my family. Great schools, great colleges, Four Seasons, millions of reasons why. Hey, if you're a snowboarder like Becky, there's no snow. On the other hand, though, we've got so many other things going on. Don't worry, Becky, your snow's coming.
Yeah.
So many other great reasons
You got to get
move
down
here.
in the winter, right? And we're in a winter season as far as just even economy. You can even say that just we're in a winter. But when you can find things to enjoy in the winter, you're either going to freeze to death or you're going to get out there and enjoy the snow. Same with what's happening in real estate. People feel that it's like this downtime, and really it's not. It's actually for those of us that are plugged in, you see the opportunity. You're going to see what you look for. If you're looking for negative, you're going to find negative. If you're looking for positive, you're going to find positive. And if you're looking to change your life, you're going to find ways to do that through home ownership.
I love that positivity stuff. Al, no doubt about it. You buy a house at $300,000, 10% goes up in value. Now you're at $330,000. The next year it's at $360,000. That's what we saw. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why that's not going to happen again.
It's going to happen again, and just be prepared. Just look, at the end of the day, if you're buying now, here's why you need to buy now and sell now and compare as opposed to the springtime or summertime.
Good. I was just about to ask you that question. So yes.
And it's weird. I watch all my memory videos, and I keep saying the same video every single winter. Buy now, sell now. Do you want to buy now? Whatever the rate is, who cares? Okay? Because when rates continue to drop, they raise rates as much as they can to calm things down. It didn't calm things down.
No.
Okay? The opposite happened,
When you
right?
took a look at the jobs report, came up higher than expected. Okay, so
Yeah.
unemployment's still low at 3.8%. It's still very, very low. But what you're seeing is inflation down. Yeah, inflation down is a little bit, but people still have cash to spend, and they're going to spend it, which is why there's so many buyers in the market. The Midwest, exactly where we live, extremely affordable.
Yeah.
And Michelle and Al, you could speak to this probably better than anybody, is that investors are coming in and they're
Yes.
buying up properties here because it's extremely affordable.
Yeah.
So you have to stand in line with these investors. So if you're going to wait, it just doesn't right now. And you know me, everybody out there, I'm extremely conservative when it comes to spending your money. All right. But if you can afford it and the sun, moon, and stars line up, there's no reason to wait. Don't wait.
No reason to wait.
Well, you can wait. You can wait. Okay, so
Yeah.
the famous line, I'm gonna wait until the rates drop.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So the rates drop, you got way more buyers thinking exactly like you, right?
More competition.
More competition. So that house that you're buying for 300,000 becomes 320, 330 because of multiple offer situation, or get a higher rate now, which is not high.
Get in the game.
Get in the game now. Less competition. You got some negotiating room for concessions or whatever you want because less demand because of the winter. Or wait until spring and summer when families that have kids start looking and buying, and you end up paying more. So get a whatever rate it is today. I don't care, right? Pay $300,000 for that house, and then later on, if rates are lower and it's worth refinancing, date the rate, marry the home.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I would like in divorce rent on top of all that, right? But to that point, you're absolutely right because when everyone else is fighting over that house that we talked in the beginning of the show,
Yeah.
you're now going to be in a position to refinance.
Yep.
You're refinancing when people are fighting. When your neighbor, or your cousin's brother, or sister that's like, "Oh, I'm not ready yet," you're going to be chilling in your house and they're fighting over the house and people weren't bragging in 2020 about they paid $70,000 over asking. They were bragging about their interest rate. And it's going to happen again.
Can you simmer down the public about refinancing? Because people put in their brain, it's going to be so expensive to refinance.
Go ahead, Beth.
Yes.
Hey, Beck, you know what? Eric, you want to go to a break real quick and we'll come back and let's
Okay.
do that. All
Okay.
right, great
We will
stuff.
talk about it after.
Michelle
you.
threw it out there. Michelle Sayward, EXP Realty, Al Abdallah, EXP Realty. They know what they're doing.
This
We
is
know what we're doing.
collaboration.
Yeah, we're going
at
to talk
its
about
finest.
the refinance scams that are
Please.
going out there right now, too.
Oh, it's so
All
lot of
right, that equity
craziness.
allows you to get some debt consolidation done.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of you overspent for the holidays. That's okay. We'll fix that up for you. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we are back on the air, 944. The Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank for over 34 years.
Correct.
Of course, you can always find us all there. 1-800-LOW-RATE. You'll get hooked up with the great professionals. Again, we have FHA, VA, USDA, every single loan out there. And Becky, you're going to really go over one of these great new programs as we've been talking this morning about some first-time home buyers trying to get you out of that renting situation, time to build some equity. We have the exclusive Home Funded program. Again, we won't jam it down your throat. It's just pretty simple stuff, Becky.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Home Funded, and then I'm going to dip back into the refinance conversation because we just were bringing that up right before the break. Home Funded is a very exclusive program that Capital Mortgage Funding offers, where anybody can gift you funds. A lot of problems is not the payment that people can afford, because we can identify a payment that you can afford very quickly. It is money for closing. People have the biggest issue is, where's the money come from? Show me the money. So the Home Funded, it is a program that allows anybody to contribute towards your contribution. So if you have someone that's going to gift you $5,000, we as a lender will match up to $2,000. It allows your real estate agent also to chime in, and they can say, okay, well, if Becky's going to, jip in $2,000 and I'm going to throw in $500, so now you have $2,500 on top of your gift. If someone isn't going to give you a gift, every time you share your Home Funded page, we will contribute $2 for every time you share it, because it's all about getting you up to that $2,000. So if you don't qualify for down payment assistance and you don't have anyone to give you a gift, we as a lender are going to wire these funds directly to the title company. It's exclusive. No one else is offering it. And if you're getting married even in the future, instead of asking for gifts, you can ask for donations towards your house, because no one's going to hit you up and be like, hey, how's that air fryer? People would rather be like, wow, I love contributing to these people's future, and I'm excited that I help them buy a house.
So, Becky, the great math is that if you have 100 people coming to your wedding, and they give you $50 a piece, that's $5,000, and we'll match up to $2,000, so that you'll have $7,000.
Boom.
Now, it used to be only very close, immediate relatives, family members could give you gift money.
That's right.
That's out the window now.
Yep.
All right, so Becky Alley can get you in a house, gift money from your wedding guest, whomever, and then we'll match up to $2,000.
Yes,
right,
it's an amazing page. You set it up. It's exclusive to you, and anyone can contribute, because people love contributing to good causes, and what better way to help your niece, nephew, whomever purchase a house. Even if it was $10, that helps, and we're willing to help them as well.
Yeah, set up your campaign, because you can also be shopping at the Home Depot, and there's all sorts of retailers across the United States. So when these family members go and they're going to spend the $500 and pick up the new dishwasher, whatever it might be, 8%, 7%, that all gets put into your campaign, into your Home Funded page, setting you up for success, home ownership.
Yeah,
I'm
really excited about that one.
There you go.
And
really cool.
The fact that, and I was actually testing it out for the first time right over the winter, where I was just naturally shopping for Christmas, and I was contributing to someone's assets to buy a house, because it helps you. It's all about helping people get to where they're going. And we see the bank statements. A lot of people are not keeping the money in the bank. They're not following the paper trail of the money. And this is a good way to help people understand banking when it happens on the lending side, because there's a lot of people that don't keep their money in the bank, and there's people that do keep the money in the bank, but they don't keep enough of it in there, and it's hard to sell. It's hard to save money to buy a house. Sometimes it could take someone three years to save $4,000. So if we can help accelerate that, anything we can do to help you achieve the home ownership within the means of affordability, we're here.
Becky,
Awesome.
I wanted to say something real quick.
Yeah.
So I think as real estate professionals or lenders or loan officer, I think we need to do a better job educating the buyers and the sellers on the process of, like we were talking about this yesterday, you and I. Mm-hmm. Like when I ask a buyer, what price are you looking up to, and they say $300,000, and most realtors just say, okay, find them a house up to $300,000.
Yeah, how'd they get there?
How'd you get there? So Becky, I think it's on us to educate the buyers and sellers. Hey, you're looking up to $300,000. How did you come up with that number?
Right.
Well, I don't know. Most people say, I don't know. I just came up with that number. Some engineer analyticals will say I broke it down and whatever they did majority right? Mm-hmm. But majority of people, when they're looking up to buy a house, they don't know what price range to look up to. And they don't know how they came up with that number. And when you ask them, what kind of monthly payment can you afford, including tax and insurance, they say $1,500 or $2,000, whatever they say. And you ask them, how did you come up with that number? Most buyers don't know how they come up with that number. Most buyers don't know what they can afford. They don't know, like, is $2,000 my maximum I can afford based on my car payment, my insurance, my taxes, my this, my that? Yeah. I think there's a lack of training in the industry. like especially the newer realtors getting into the business that just think, you just open a door and you sell a home, make a commission, or a loan officer just gets in and just makes a commission. It's not about that. I think we need to do a better job as an industry or industries on educating the buyers and sellers on how to know what you can afford, what you can put down, what your monthly payment is. And when you talk about gifts, like what, to me, a gift is just somebody gave me a gift. In the lending industry, a gift is a different terminology, right?
Yep.
So I think as realtors and as lenders, we should spend more time educating the client on all that before we start showing them houses, listing their house, or putting a mortgage together. Do you agree?
I agree with that. And the truth is the main issue is because they start with the real estate side before the lending side. So they're reaching out to a list or a real estate agent. That real estate agent is instantly opening up a door for them for a $200,000 house because that was a lead. They're trying to kind of honeymoon them for a second, and then they get it with the lender. So depending on who that lender is, they might be not having those kind of conversations because those are conversations and questions that we all ask because we've been in the business for as long as we have. Seasoned real estate agents, you are vetting. You're not going to show someone a house that they can't afford. I call it the hungry eye syndrome.
Right. It's such an emotional experience,
It
right?
is.
So they get all hopped up. They drove by, they saw something on the internet, whatever, and they get all hopped up. They all of a sudden, they see themselves, they envision themselves in that house.
Yep.
Before doing their homework, right, Michelle?
Right.
But when they call you and say, hey, I want to see this house, your first question is, well, are you pre-approved?
Yeah.
I mean, have you run any numbers here?
Right.
Well,
and
I ask them you ask them, what are you paying in rent currently?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Are you prepared to continue to pay that kind of rent? Are you paying $1,500 in rent? Okay, well then we're probably looking at a $150,000 house if that is your max budget. Because
Sometimes they can afford more.
Yep.
Than they think they can afford. They don't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're looking up to 300. They should be looking up to 250. And sometimes they should be looking up to 350 or 400, and they think they can only buy 300.
Yeah.
I think, okay, so buyers and sellers, ask your realtor, ask your lender more questions. And if you're not asking them more questions,
I like that.
Yeah.
have them ask you more questions.
I'm all about, I'd rather get someone in a house that's under their means than even at their means because life is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that budget element, and you have to be prepared for something that's going to happen. So when someone is telling me they're high, I ask them, okay, if you could pick a price point, what would it be? Okay, $300,000. How do you feel about this payment? Okay, do you feel good about this? Well, let me see what you're going to afford.
Exactly.
Do you have assets? What is the max that you have saved? I have $700. Well, we're going to have an issue finding a $300,000 house with only $700 saved. The reality of it is you have to reverse engineer someone's thinking a lot of the times.
yeah.
Definitely the old times had some cool things happen. The olden days, hey, we used to do this. One of the things that we used to do, Michelle, was, and we saw a lot of it when people were making offers, they would ask the sellers, and the sellers, even the listing agents would say, well, do me a favor, leave your gas bill out, your electric bill. These are just the ancillary,
Just show
the
them.
other things. Yeah,
Yeah.
just say, hey, these are some additional things that you have to look at here. Here's what the water cost is.
Yep.
There are some additional things you need to know. And again, we don't want to scare you away. We want you to become a homeowner, but we don't want you to be surprised or over purchase and put yourself in that horrible position.
You're taking me way back because I do remember
We're
seeing
way
those
back.
laid
Yeah,
out
what
like
is that doing here?
concessions.
Well, I mean, when you're in an upward trending market, when everything's so competitive and people are just like, throwing thousands and thousands of dollars above and beyond listing price, you forget about the gas bill. You
Well, right.
forget.
There's more to homeownership than just buying a house, right? There's utilities, there's maintenance, there's maybe it needs a new furnace, maybe you need a new roof, or maybe just whatever the lawn maintenance and snow removal is going to be, right? So
I bought a house. The house I live in right now, I paid $125,000 more than I was looking for.
Yeah.
Not $25,000, $125,000.
We did that
Why?
too.
Because first of all, when I seen the house, I didn't know how much they were asking. All right, it was coming on the market. I had no idea what they're asking. I just knew I wanted that house. I had my eyes on that house.
There you
right.
go.
So when I actually
Waiting for it to
I was
come
waiting
on.
for it, right?
Yeah.
So I walked in there, I looked at it, and imagine looking at a house you never don't even know how much you're asking, right? Like,
Yeah.
what a bad thing to do, right?
As a real estate
as
agent.
a real estate agent, like we advise
own worst
our
enemy.
clients don't do that, and then we do it, right? And I went in there and I loved it and everything else. And when I found out the price, I'm like, oh shoot. Houston, we have a problem, right? So I called my lender at the time and I said, hey, if I buy this house, what is my payment going to be? And he told me, I'm like, really? Oh, so can I afford this? He's like, Al, all day. I'm like,
You can buy two of them.
yeah, like why was I like here I am as a realtor at the time, this is like 15 years ago, whatever it was. And I'm thinking like, maybe buyers feel the same exact way. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
So when I found out what my payment was,
Yeah.
I was like, great. You know what? Let me buy this house.
When
It's
you
not
say
scary.
You
It
mean
doesn't
palace
have to
sale?
be
Did
scary.
you buy a palace or a house?
Yeah.
What'd you get here?
No, I
don't
bought a
know.
house.
But
Oh,
it
you got a
starts with
house.
that
You got a house.
conversation. You don't know what you don't know. And it's all about having that conversation and putting that financial plan in place. And same with once you own that house, you can refinance, right? You can refinance that rate at a lower rate. I bought my first house in 2006. At the time, my rate was 6.25%. And it was and then 2 years later, the housing market completely collapsed and all the things, right, that could possibly happen. And I'm 2 years in the business. But guess what? The rates went down and I refinanced. And refinancing is not expensive.
That's what's like, take the boogeyman away from the refinance, please.
Refinancing. So when you buy a house, you don't have equity. So you have to bring money to the table. Once you own that house, you are now building equity. That's something that you don't build with rent. You're building equity in the home. So every time you're making a payment, you got money that's this invisible money that's going to the bank. So if I were to put $20,000 stacked up in front of you, would you take it? Of course you would. And that's what's happening when you have home ownership. You now have, let's just say, $20,000 of equity. The rates drop. You can refinance. You roll those costs into the mortgage and you literally show up to the table with nothing. Or you can sometimes get money back. Or if you don't want to roll in the closing costs, you can bring maybe $1,000. It all depends. But what we offer is called the rate rebound, where if we are purchasing up with us right now, we can put you in a rate rebound where we waive all the lending fees and give you $1,000 to give you a lower rate. These are things that we are doing to help people and understand and achieve home ownership, but also the future.
So
we
let me
put
just
a name on that, but there's really there doesn't need to be a name on that because we check it out. We will help you. We'll go ahead and run your numbers for you to go ahead and save that 100, 150, 200 a month for you.
So let me just summarize this super quick, because we're saying to you, buy now when you have the margin to negotiate on the sale of a house, because the rates are forecasted to go down and refinance later,
correct.
and potentially can go down later, and refinance it then. And people think refinancing is expensive, but what Becky just said is that you can roll all those costs right in, and you have even $1,000 credit opportunity available right now for people. So refinancing doesn't need to be expensive. It should be an overall savings.
No, but we
to
have
you.
to be careful too, because in getting back to you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
There are companies out there, and we get them all day long. We see them. There are a lot of scams. Front page of the Oakland Press. You have to be careful who you're doing business with. If you have a relationship, call the relationship or call us, and we will put you on the path and give you the right information to set you up for success.
That's
Even
great
if
stuff.
it's not right now, it's win. It's not
Who
if,
you
it's
work
when.
with matters.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our show. You guys want to thank you, of course, the great Michelle Sayward, Al Abdallah. You guys are fantastic. EXP, experience counts. Want to thank, of course, the great Becky Alley, Harry Glantz. I'm Harvey Free. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. See you soon.